Happy Sunday. I was going to say Sunday, but I guess we don't have a set date when we drop this. So it'll be the weekend. Happy weekend to everyone. Today in the Owner's Lounge, we're looking at a Pacheco trade that Dan and I received in a FFPC high stakes leagues that we're both in. And we're also looking at a MFL team that Dan and I manage in a money league with a bunch of GOATs, one of the GOAT leagues. We finished second last year. Lots to talk about today, guys. Let's get right to it.
GOAT district, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT district, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.
What is up, Dynasty Land? We're back in the Owner's Lounge. Dan and I managing our high-stakes Dynasty teams. Today we're talking FFPC 500 buy-in, Dan, that we got the Pacheco offer.
Yes. Yep.
And then
correct.
We've got the Big Money League in the GOAT Leagues, which Dan and I split. We finished second last year. Very competitive league. We've got a couple GOATs, including our boy Randy, Theo. Are in that one. So we'll get to that one in a bit, but let's start off with the trade we just received. Dan, what is this in our, that's the Dynasty Depot. So what did we finish in that one last year?
So in that one, we finished second place.
Second place. So
yes,
that's a pretty stacked roster when you look at owners on the FFPC in that league. That's the Dynasty Depot. Check it out, guys. If you own any FFPC Dynasty teams, it's a great way to buy and trade and sell your Dynasty teams actually on there. I used it for Team Dan, a 500 that I had for years. I built it up and made a nice little profit on that thing last summer, which helps you, this time of season get into more leagues because we're degenerates. That's just what we do. But Dan, why don't you talk about the trade, talk about the league, anything you want to kind of set the table with here?
Okay, yeah. So as JD said, this is it's kind of an all-star league. It's got a lot of very, very serious Dynasty players. It was started by the owner of the Dynasty Depot, Nelson Verbit, and so he invited us in. This league has been running for 2 years now. We finished third the first year. We finished second this year. So 2023, we are guaranteed to finish first. I mean, that's all there is to it. It's natural progression of life. So
well, you see a pattern in our teams, Dan, and that's why I think it was last week we talked about our 250 pros versus Joes. It's like our ugly child because it's the only one that we haven't been cashing pretty regularly in.
Right, exactly. So anyway, but this team is, it's set up reasonably well for this year. We don't have a ton of draft picks available to us. So getting a 207 here is, it's definitely interesting. And, value-wise, what we're looking at here, the 207 and a 2024 second for Isiah Pacheco, the value on that to me, I think is pretty sweet. I mean, Pacheco, starting running back for the Chiefs, but also a 7th round real-life NFL draft pick. He could get blown up at any moment.
It's a very nervous time of the season for these type of running backs with no draft capital. I mean, this is definition type of player that if you do get an offer that's kind of tasty, and that's what my first question, Dan, is off the cuff. Like, you seemed like you were content with the value in the offer.
I think so. I mean, because the thing is I think that with the fact that Pacheco could get blown up in any second, and we got him for basically nothing.
Yeah.
He
Was
was,
that
I
we get
think,
him on waivers?
I think we got him in the rookie draft last year, but he was
Okay.
like a 5th, 6th, 7th round.
Yes, we were
pick.
Pachecoing anywhere we could last year.
Yeah, exactly. So, he cost us almost nothing. We have here, we're turning a guaranteed profit on him after being able to use him over the course of the past year as well. So, I mean, even if we got nothing for him, we'd have already turned a profit just on, what we spent. Being able to insert a 5th round rookie pick into your lineup even, 2 times is like a win. So, more than happy.
Sorry, Dan. Now that we're under the player profiler partnership umbrella, the Voltron, part of the Voltron, we gotta use the tools, right? So I'm using their Dynasty calculator right now on my mobile, and it's got the pick side at 134 to 53 is Pacheco's value in Dynasty, and I think that's clearly everything you just talked about. The fact that these draft picks right now are more value, and then even the 2024 picks, as we hear every year, Dan. I don't know why everyone thinks this year is different, the next year is different. I hear it every year from everyone that follows college. Next season is the season. Next, you have the 101. You've got like the Super Mario star, in your league, and you see it every year. It kind of sizzles out a bit, and then the hype is back, I guess, when the draft comes. But this is an interesting one. So we talked about the trade. We talked about what the calculator is telling us. You're saying it's on par. I think it's pretty much on par because let's face it, we talk about running backs in good offenses with volume. And if we look at Pacheco last year, I was trying to get this before it got to me, but just looking at kind of his touches, we're always looking at touches for running backs. Just his what is this, carries? They got it broken down in carries. So like his 15, 10, 12, and then he's got some receptions in there as well. So he's in the 20-ish range, like 15 to 20 range, which is for a 7th rounder. There's definitely value there. Like it's not, you can't just look at the calculator and be like, oh wow, we're blowing it out of the water.
Right. But what we have to keep in mind is, while the fantasy community, we're definitely high on Pacheco, and I'll just throw up.
He was well, actually, fantasy point. I guess a lot of it was at the back end in the playoffs, right? Because fantasy points per game, he was the RB 44.
Right. Yeah. So he was lightly used early on in the season, and then as the season went along, Edwards-Helaire went on the injury list. It was basically Pacheco and McKinnon. But this year it could be Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't think that the Chiefs are going to not use Helaire. I think fantasy players are discounting Helaire to a much, much greater degree than what the Chiefs probably are. I mean, we're tired of him. We've overvalued him for 3 years straight. So everybody's sick of him. And if you go to best ball, he's languishing at the bottom of the pile. You can get him in like the 17th, 18th, 19th round or later.
Yep.
Basically, I think this is a classic sell high situation because so many bad things could happen to Pacheco, and almost, I don't want to say that what we see in the last half of the season here that's his ceiling, but I don't think that's his floor either. So he's a guy who can maybe help you out a little bit, but what I'm seeing with 2 second-round picks, that's a clear win in value. Looking at how he fits into our roster, let me pull up our rosters.
So right now at running back, we've got Pacheco, Fournette, Aaron Jones, and Devin Singletary. So again, because we're after cutdowns this time of season, you're not really as worried about positions, but we've got a decent nucleus of 4 there. That are usable, especially 2 of those guys, obviously with Aaron Jones and Pacheco. Fournette, no matter where he lands, we keep saying, Dan, he's going to give you production.
Yep. Yeah. So we're not sitting in what I would call great shape at running back, but we're gonna have Aaron Jones as our RB1. We've got Fournette, who's probably going to land somewhere. We've got Singletary, who's at least going to be able to be an emergency running back. You could take a look at our draft picks also here. Right now, if we got that 207, that would be our highest draft pick. We have a 211, 37, 311, and then 4, 5, 6, and 7 picks. So I kind of like this trade because basically what it's doing is it's cashing out high on Pacheco, and it sets us up with an extra, another draft pick this year where we can potentially get a running back or, whatever else. I mean, it might be a tight end, but, we'll get a good player at 207, and it sets us up with an extra second for next year.
Which is huge.
Yeah, which we're definitely going to need. I mean, we kind of went a little bit all in last year to try to bring home the title. Didn't quite get there. But if you look at our roster, it's definitely built to win now with Lamar Jackson, and then we got Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and then some other older wide receivers as well. Waller, older player. Aaron Jones, older player. So, I think our best move is to try to, extend our window here, try to get into the playoffs again, and see if we can bring it home.
One thing you guys talked about, and if you guys haven't seen it yet, Scott Connor was on. You and Theo were talking pivots off of draft picks. Having those draft picks, they give you flexibility. Mm-hmm. So this is like probably the most you're getting for Pacheco pre-draft. They don't draft anyone. They don't bring anyone else in. I mean, probably stays about the same, maybe goes up a bit, his value, but he still has that lack of draft capital that is always going to be kind of weighing down his value overall. And like we said, CEH is there. We've seen this offense kind of shuffle through running backs. I don't see them being shallow at the position, let's say, going into the season. So I think looking at everything, you look at what Pacheco's value is on the market, what this gives us as a team. We lose a starting, I guess, who would be a starting flex right now for us on our roster, but that's replaceable with those picks that we're grabbing. And if we're going into the season, we still have a lack, we can use those picks to get ourselves maybe a better situation at running back, someone with some more draft capital or whatever it is that we like at the time.
Yep, agreed. And, while I think if Pacheco survives the draft, I mean, then you could probably get a low first for him. But you look at what you're going to get with a low first, and I'm not sure that's. But
is a low first that much different? Low first in this year's draft that much different than the 207 and the 2024 second?
Exactly, and that's right. What I'm thinking is, your low first and your 207 are going to be kind of from almost the same tier of players. And, so to me, just taking that 207, it's almost like getting a low first. We just won't get our choice of exactly who we get. We'll be kind of left with the leftovers of that tier, but that's fine. And then we get that second from next year. And, who knows how high that second could be.
Exactly. No, this is, what we broke it down, we hashed it out. This is actually worked out because it's kind of a no-brainer accept at this point.
Yep.
Do it, man. Do it.
I think so. So we're gonna hit the accept button. There it is.
Oh yeah.
There it is. There it is. All right, buddy. Big move right there in the Dynasty Depot League. We'll. I feel like any move this time of year is fun, just to get deals done. So we got that done. Again, like you said, competitive in a 500 league. That's all you want to be. You see our starters there: Aaron Jones, Lamar Jackson's going to be back, Tyreek Hill, Darren Waller, Singletary, Amari Cooper. So very competitive starters. We still have draft picks now. We've got some depth at receiver with Brandon Cook, Elijah Moore there, Juju, and DPJ. There we go.
Yeah,
Dan's like me. He likes to go set up the lineup right away.
just throwing some throwing it in there. So Pacheco is coming off our bench rather than as a starter. I mean, who knows who our running back 2 is right now? But we've got months to figure it out. So I'm not worried about that.
The ideal for me is Fournette lands in a dreamy spot, and we pair that up with like our 24 second or with that 207, and we get ourselves an upgrade.
Imagine if Fournette landed in Kansas City.
There you go.
I mean, that would instantly crater the value of Pacheco.
What's that?
I think
Alanis Morissette song. Isn't it ironic?
Yes.
All right. Nice. So there you go. We got one done on the show, Dan. Didn't even plan it. Worked out beautifully. That's our 500 Dynasty Depot. Let's now move over to the Money League in the GOAT League. So just some guys that are in there. You've got Randy, the Outlaw. Is he sharing with Jerry, or has Jerry got his own team in that league?
No, Jerry's got his own team. So Randy's got his own. Jerry from the Dynasty Warzone also has his own.
Theo.
Yep. Theo's in there. I believe Wheeler's in this one.
I believe so. You know what? It's hard. I keep forgetting like who's in which GOAT League because we're in too many.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull it up just so I can have it in front of me. But super competitive league. It's remind me, Dan, it's 2 quarterback.
So it's start 2 quarterback, start 2 tight end, 1.75 PPR for tight ends.
That's right, yeah.
It's got 0.25 per carry for running backs, and then wide receivers are just regular PPR. So you've got to start 12 players. You can start you can start 2 quarterbacks. You have to start 2 tight ends. You have to start 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers, I think, and the rest can be flexes.
And these are deep, Dan. These are not like FFPC shallow. These are 32-man deep rosters, and then you've got a couple injury spots and 3 taxi spots. So super deep, 30-ish, mid-30 depth in roster. So different format than the FFPC, but definitely a fun league to be in.
Yep, absolutely. And so we came in 2nd place in this league last year. I'm putting up this screen just, you can ignore the team, the Always Be Closing team. That's another team. But I put it up on the trade screen so we can also see our draft picks.
Yes, that's usually how I do it as well, just so you can see what you have.
Yep, as well as all our players. So this is another team we finished 2nd with. Again, we pushed hard to try to get to win the league. So we've traded away pretty much all of our draft picks from this year. So we just have a 4th and a 5th this year. So there's not much help coming down the pike. And looking at the team position by position at quarterback, with Tom Brady retiring, that makes
somebody put a tweet. Who did we have on this week that put a tweet out about that? About Tom Brady. How many teams have Tom Brady? Or is that?
That was Mojo.
That was Mojo. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, we still have Tom Brady on the roster, but being 32 players deep, we're going to hang on to Tom Brady probably through most of the season if we have to. But we're basically right now we're kind of hoping Gardner Minshew ends up making starts because that will make our lives a lot easier because we don't have a lot of draft pick capital to trade unless we dip into our 2024 supply, which I'd rather not do right now. But, looking at the other positions. So we got Josh Allen. I mean, that's a great place to start at quarterback. And hopefully Minshew makes some starts. That would be great. Get us, at least a few games into the season. At running back, I think we're looking really strong because we've got Saquon. We've got Dalvin Cook. We also have Ty Chandler, which if Cook ends up going somewhere else, Ty Chandler, I think, is going to be real sneaky because Alexander Madison then becomes its starter, and then Ty Chandler.
You're going to get if Eric listens to this, he's going to get all wet. You're talking about Ty Chandler.
I know it. We got Chase Edmonds. Not much going on there. Royce Freeman, definitely a drop candidate. Darrell Henderson, probably edging closer to a drop candidate. Chuba Hubbard. I'll let you talk about your favorite Canadian.
Yeah, a decent depth piece. Especially in this carry point per carry type of league.
Yep. Jerick McKinnon, who definitely helped carry us last year. That was huge. Mm-hmm. We have Elijah Mitchell, who's that might be a trade piece to move to the McCaffrey owner. So we can. That's something that we can think about moving because we are so deep at running back. We got Latavius Murray, no job right now, but Denver sounds interested in bringing him back. Tony Pollard, and then we have Jeffrey Wilson down here as well. So we've got some good frontline starters at running back, and we have guys that we can throw into a flex as needed. So feel great about our running backs.
Yeah, no, for sure. And nice layers to our running backs. Guys you can just slot in, good starters. We got 3 solid starters in Saquon, Dalvin, and Tony Pollard, with the current landscape anyways. Receiver, we've got our studs, how we like to do it. So we've got Diggs for the Allen stack in Buffalo. We've got your boy Lockett, who was key last year, big time. Mike Williams, he's got his flashes, but he does put up those big games. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year. And then, you've got like the Russell Gages, the Devin Duvernays, the Zay Jones actually last year was pretty good. Alan Lazard, maybe in New York, we start getting more out of him. Who knows? Or maybe we just go to the Rodgers owner once he finally signs there and see if we can move him. Justin Watson and Sky Moore. And then we have Michael Thomas on the IR, who could be relevant this year, Dan.
Could be. I'll tell you what. I think if he gets a good game or two, he's definitely a try to move him right away type guy.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And then tight end, we're not too shabby there with George Kittle. I believe we made a move for George Kittle. I think wasn't it George Kittle and Barkley we made?
I think it was Kittle and Diggs that we got, and we traded away Pitts and something else to do that
on a mission to stack, and we got it done.
Yep,
and it paid off.
And then we also have Jelani Woods, who I like as I think he's an intriguing young tight end that might turn into something. And we have Tyler Conklin, who
could be sneaky this year. He's a guy I keep grabbing late in these best balls. Could definitely be sneaky.
Right, exactly.
With Rodgers.
My thought exactly. So we've got some. Our depth at tight end is not great, but basically this is a team that can go out there and we can put in a starting lineup that we feel real good about.
Smashes.
That could be at least definitely competitive. We have, I think, one of the deeper teams in the league.
Mm-hmm. Even though our quarterback isn't, because you have a stud like that, it carries it enough. And if you look at how many starters, like how many top round guys who are going in best ball right now in the top 3-4 rounds, we've got a few of them, so we can put up pretty good firepower.
Right, and we can maybe make a move for a cheaper quarterback or something like that if we decide that that's what we want to do. For now, I'm content to.
We have a trade offer, Dan.
Oh yes.
I didn't even know that. Look at that. Hey, man, you'd think they were scripting this show or something. So yeah, I literally just pressed trades to look at the picks, and of course we have an offer for Dalvin Cook. I'm not going to say the name of the team that offered it because there might be children listening.
Yes,
but that's got to be Ferris.
If you're watching on YouTube, you can read it for yourself and and go where you want with that.
So actually the 202 for Dalvin Cook is what we're being offered in this team. Now let's remember, and I was just going to see what the pick situation is. So we don't have any. We have 4'11", 5'10".
Right.
So 2-2 gives us like something in this year's draft. The problem is, and we're obviously going to discuss this, but we don't know what's going on with Dalvin. His value is down right now, so I feel like you're selling kind of in the down.
And here's the thing. I think this is a little bit of a lowball offer. I think we can and should ask for more for Dalvin. I just put the team that offered us that trade, I put their roster up here.
Yeah.
And if we go down and we look at their picks, right down here, he's got the 105, the 108, the 111, 113, 201, 202. So he's got a whole bunch of picks right in a row there, and he's offering us the least valuable of them.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get the 105 out of him because I think that's going to be a quarterback, and he needs help at quarterback. The 108 maybe we could get. I think the 111 would be the absolute worst that I would want to consider.
I'd feel more comfortable with the 108 because you can end up with
Right.
Like maybe not Charbonnet, but the next guy, whoever that is, because for me, there's like that big tier that we talked about this week with Matt Kelly. So, but again, you can still take that 108, pair it with something, and get yourself a bigger boat.
Right. We could also take a look at, see if he's interested. I doubt it, but what about a Dalvin for Dobbins type of trade?
I was looking at either Dobbins or even Swift, because Swift is taking a beating right now out there, and I love buying guys when they're on the ground getting kicked in the face.
Yep.
So I don't mind either one of those guys with Swift and Dobbins, because I feel like when they're healthy, they're proven. And you know how it is with running backs. Like, it's easy to say, oh, this guy's injury proof. Oh, Swift's never been on the field. We don't know shit, man. We're not, dude. I'm like falling apart. I'm 46, like literally falling apart. Can't lift my right arm past my, my chin. So for us to judge these guys on health and act like we, me and Dan with this stuff, we don't know shit. That's at the end of the day. He might come out this year and put up RB3 season easily. He has that upside. So does Dobbins. We saw Dobbins, like people are hating on Dobbins and he hasn't, maybe the Lamar stuff is scaring him, but for me, that would just give him more volume if Lamar isn't there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I don't hate either of those guys if you're looking for a straight up swap.
Yep, I think so.
Is there anything else we'd want to grab from his roster that we can kind of, just because sometimes I send those, 1-1 or 2-1, and then I'm like, oh, I should have kind of worked this guy into the deal somehow, or trying to see if there's anything.
Okay, take a look for that. I'm bringing this up on the player profiler trade analyzer.
Nice.
So we can see what our new sponsors think.
I didn't even know you could do that on the site. I thought you can only do it on the mobile for some reason on the app.
No, when you're on, you can do it on the site, so
right,
it works out good. And then
and just for those like calculator haters out there, like Dan and I have been playing Dynasty for decades. Like if you put our years together, you there's like a 50-year-old Dynasty man standing beside us, But these calculators are really a good temperature gauge. Like that's really what it is. It's it gives you a really good idea of like where this guy's looking, because a lot of people use them. So it gives you an idea. Okay, he's probably using this calculator or whatever. And then it gives you an idea of, okay, does this guy want to? For me, these are things that I'm looking at. Does he want to win the trade? Dan, you know what I mean? Like you can tell right away. Like if a guy is just really trying to win a trade. So basically, if you want the guy that he's offering, or if you want a certain guy, you're going to have to overoffer. But things like that, it's not necessarily like, ooh, look at the calculator. It's not, even or whatever. It's more just to get a feel for where the guy's coming from. You're reading your opponent. That's basically what I use it for.
Right. And I threw up the Dobbins just to kind of get an idea, because I haven't done too much trading of Dobbins. I haven't seen too many deals of Dobbins going down. So
he's
I'm more familiar with where Cook's value is, and so I just wanted to get a quick sense of.
Is it still uncertainty out there in Minnesota, Dan? You're out there in Minnesota, like with Dalvin, or do you think, like, I don't know if it was you or somebody the other day in a DM saying how they're just going to squeeze him out, like wait until there's no more spots for running backs, and then just say, sorry, dude, you got to play. Play
no, I think there's a very good chance that they could end up moving him, because they're either going to force him to take less money, or they're going to they're going to try to trade him, one of the two, because right now he's counting $14 million against the cap. The Vikings would like to use their cap money a little bit better than that. So I think they got Madison on a 2-year for $7 million deal, which in today's market, that is starting running back money. So they're already paying one starting running back that they have signed this year. So I think that if they can get anything for Dalvin, they will move him. I think that's part of their plan, because they only have 5 draft picks. They're hoping they can move Dalvin for something and get another pick or 2 out of that. So I think that's kind of the way the Vikings are leaning. So I think Dalvin's probably, if I had to guess, I'd guess he's going to be on the move.
Abinakanda was the other rookie I was thinking about that we could maybe get at 108 there, which are all kind of in this Dalvin range, like JK. It's all kind of in the same. So you're just kind of picking your favorite, or usually us, Dan, we like to just look at the running back's age and try to pivot get the similar production, but just not have to worry about his value just tanking and then dying on your bench, which if we don't move Dalvin now, that's pretty much what could happen.
Right. I mean, we're a, you know, we're going to be a competitive team.
We're competitive, for sure.
So having Dalvin, especially in a point per carry league, which, you know, I don't think this quite, you know, I'm looking at the trade analyzer here. That's another thing. I mean, you know, this doesn't really account for the fact that you get points per running back carries. I think that makes Dalvin quite a bit more valuable.
Agreed.
You know, so just looking at the 108 versus Dalvin,
it's probably about even with that.
It's much closer to even. So I don't think that asking for the 108 is.
So why don't we just send them back all three, and then let them choose? Or do you have a favorite? Because sometimes you do that, and you're like, oh, should have just sent that one.
Yeah, so you're talking about Swift or Dobbins or the 108? Yeah, I think that's fine. Let's go ahead
and then if he's interested in any of those, but it's a little off for him, he'll, you know, hopefully counter with something, and we can get that deal done because he clearly wants Dalvin, so it makes it. And this is, guys that are listening, like, you know, my biggest pet peeve is like try to send a and I'm guilty of this too, but sometimes I'll think I'm going to send a counter later and I just forget or don't have time or whatever, but always try to send a counter back because the guy, your opponent just gave you information. Every time you get a proposal, it's like poker. You just saw a bit of his hand. You know now what he wants or what he's trying to get rid of, and you gotta optimize on that. And that's why I feel like if you're not sending counters when you're getting offered, for me, when I get an offer, man, it's like a gift because now I have something to work on. You know, it's not just me shooting in the dark or shooting at the wall and seeing what sticks type of thing.
Right, exactly. And another just key little piece of information here is this is Ferris's team, and we know that he has been a big Dalvin stan over the years.
Yeah.
So
he's I forgot about that. He had every Dalvin share in all the leagues, I think, all their goal leagues.
Right. Yeah. So he was hoping he could nab him for cheap off of us. Our message back at the very least is no, Dalvin's not going for that cheap. So here are 3 ideas. This is about how we value him. So you can take a look at these and see what you think. So this, you know, we'll get some good, even if we don't make a deal off of one of these 3, we'll get a better idea of what he thinks, you know, exactly. How high is he willing to go?
And that's another little trick, guys. Like the more you can offer options and make your opponent feel like they're making the decision, that's like a sales tactic even, you know. I'm sure it's a marketing tactic. You know, you make the consumer feel like they're making that decision based on what you're doing. That's always the best way to make a deal happen because, you know, then at least you're giving them options. You're opening the door for, there's a higher percentage chance the deal is going to happen.
Yeah, it's one thing to say, you know, hey, would you like some ice cream? But, you know, if you can say, hey, you know, would you like Rocky Road or would you like strawberry or, you know, would you like Cherry Garcia? You know, pick your flavor, and all of a sudden, ice cream becomes much more appealing. Oh, I really like Cherry Garcia.
Dan, we gotta end with the ice cream. So we got one deal done in our 500 Dynasty Depot League. Hopefully, you guys, you know, enjoyed that. That was both these situations, Dan. That's why this show is so great, and it gives us a great opportunity to kind of walk through this. This is all just done off the cuff. We just walked in, had some offers, and we got one done. Working on the second one. We'll let you guys know next week's episode, the Owner's Lounge, if we get this deal done, and then we'll have another, I'm sure, roster or situation that we're going to look at. All Dynasty related. We're looking at trades, free agency, you know, the rookie draft coming up. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Dan, let's go draft the best ball.
Let's do it.
All right, we'll check you guys later.
GOAT District, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden, they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man. Y'all know what to do. It's the and I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.
Alrighty, buddy.